So this is it. We're down to our last full day of working on the car because it's going on a truck either tonight or tomorrow morning. And what that's really all about is we've got a big winter storm heading this way, and I'm going to try and beat the winter storm. Our challenge is we've got a few rattles and a few things we're trying to take care of, but our big challenge is we still need to move this body over about 1/8 of an inch, and that's not a small feat. So stay with us on this last day as we go through everything we need to get this car on the truck and as a great car. So one of the details that I've decided I don't like at all about the car is the color of the calipers. They just jump out too much. They sort of punch you in the face. So Hunter is going to remove the wheels, and then we're going to high temp paint all 4 calipers. And what color do you think we're going to go in? What do you think? Lime green?
I was hearing maybe a really bright purple.
Yeah, something like that. But
we have a working hood.
Wait a second. Let me see that.
Lasher down.
Very nice. Now, show me the hood release. Has that been restored yet?
Yes. So it's tucked way up under there.
Okay, so what we had to get was an OEM hood pull system, and we used a 67. The ones for the 65 were kind of cumbersome, and they didn't do a great job, so we put in an OEM 67 hood pull. But let's look at the problem with the hood. Because we've got so much more engine and so much more air conditioning system in this car than factory, the hood can't actually come all the way up. And so, of course, this hood release is timed to have a hood that comes all the way up, and then you have to hyperextend it to release it. So do me a favor, Colin, give me a marker of how far,
Like
right?
how far it can go.
Yeah, so do me a favor. I'm sort of holding this where it needs to be, and I can see that the holes don't line up. So
right there's our max.
okay, so that's without the release, and I need about another 3/4 of an inch. So you can't give me any more than that?
That's it.
Okay, so bring it down, and I'm going to sort of simulate 3/4 taken out of it. About there. How does that?
I mean, that looks good. That's you know, you can still see nicely inside of here, don't you think?
Oh yeah, and if you had to do serious work, you'd want to pull the hood off anyway, right?
Yeah, you don't.
Okay. So I've sort of marked it with tape. Now I'm going to go slice this apart.
We've
We've got this marked. That's the yellow tape, and basically that's what we're going to slice out of it. So I've sliced it up. Now it's time to weld it up, and I'm going to give it a tack and make sure it works, and then we're going to go final on it. It's been mocked up, I've got it sanded, lined up, and now it's time to go final with the welding. So what I've done here is just a couple tacks, make sure that we've got the right height. We're going to go do a full-on test, and if the test works out, we'll weld final. All right, so at this point, the bracket is made. You can still see a little trace of my weld right there, but basically it works and it's short, so time to put it in place.
I figured you might need.
That's why you're here. You're here to find the screw that just fell onto the ground. Did it make it all the way to the ground? Of course not. Found it. All right. Hang on. Okay, so we're good. Then they go in just like they're supposed to. We'll be able to test it here in just a minute, and that'll be our final test, because at this point, I think other than a couple of spots to spot buff on the hood, I think the hood is finished. All right. So at this point, we do our final test. All right, so we test it one more time. Does it lock? Does it hold? Does it release? Does it close? So it does everything. So this hood, other than a couple spots, hood's finally finished. So that's one more down. So we need to go over where we are, because we're the few days we had are pretty much gone, right? So we've got to paint the calipers. The hood is now lined up. And
But the big thing is there's only one part left to go in the car, and that's the glove box door. So at least every single part is on this car.
And the glove box door looks really good. I've got a couple little fine touch-ups to do on it, but it looks good. So I basically made the Corvette letters in silver, and then the Stingray I highlighted in red.
Oh, okay.
So just to give it a little contrast, because I started doing the Stingray in black,
And it just looked okay.
and it just didn't
Highlighted
pop the way I wanted it to.
We got calipers to paint.
I'm going in there. I'm going to be painting the carbon fiber engine cover here today. So when are we moving the body? So we've got a problem. Our body from the factory, the worst I've ever seen is 3/4 of an inch. We did a 78 Camaro one time where the car was a no-hit car, still had original paint on it, and we found out the car was actually 7/8 of an inch off center. Now our car right now is 1/8 of an inch. And by the way, industry standards for this era was around 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch was an acceptable standard. We're an 1/8 right now.
But we need that 8.
We need the 1/8 of an inch.
Yeah.
So we're gonna take this car, bring it up in the air, and we have to move the body over that way, right? We need to move it over 1/8 of an inch. We'll be back to do that one shortly. All right, so come on under, Colin. What is it we're trying to do that you don't have duct tape for? So I asked him for duct tape, and what did you say?
I don't have duct tape.
I don't have duct tape.
I never use duct tape on cars.
I use duct tape all the time. I don't leave it on cars, but
Okay, you didn't say that.
I use it on cars. All right, so here's what's going on. You can see my finger kind of touches on both sides between the gas tank and the frame, and my finger doesn't touch between the gas tank and the frame. It's off by 1/8 of an inch. That 1/8 of an inch we need desperately right now.
This side doesn't touch, but we need to go this way. Oh,
Right,
yeah.
right.
It's confusing me underneath
See, this
the
is
car.
this is why we supervise him tightly. All right, so what's going to happen here is I'm putting up a marker because what we want to do is put up a 1/8 inch spacer. So what this is going to be is essentially our indicator. When this thing is pushed there, you see how it'll move the stick?
Yeah.
When it's pushed there, see that's just about 1/8 of an inch. All right, so you're going to watch there with my flashlight, and I am going to try moving this car. Okay. That's not happening. I might have to get a piece of oak. Yeah. I'll be back. I've got to get a big flat piece of oak. I need a piece of wood because I never want to press against fiberglass with steel. So I'm going to go build a special pry bar. So come on. There are certain jobs on a vehicle that nobody wants to do, and their philosophy is if there's a pretty good chance it's going to break the car, they let me do it because they figure, well, if I break it, then I got no one to yell at but me. Isn't that right, Audrey?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
You do some crazy stuff, though.
but generally they work, right?
I give you your props when they work.
Oh, when they work. You heard that, right? So what we need right now is a big flat piece of oak. There's a piece of oak. I need to do a cut that only this kind of saw can do. It's gonna get loud. There is something, I don't know, it reminds me of my dad. My dad and I always did wood projects together, so, every time I'm in the wood shop, it's sort of like my dad's hanging out with me. So you ready, Colin? And again, you're waiting for that stick to move, right? Yeah, it's moved a little bit. I'm gonna go cut some of this off and make it stronger. I'll be right back. Is it moving?
No.
Okay, we're down to less than 1/8. Have you got a big mallet?
Like a rubber one?
Yeah.
Oh, dear Lord. Oh.
And I'm just going to give this. Yeah, we're down to a 16th. You don't see that?
No, I can't see the 16. Maybe I need the last.
Maybe you need to borrow these. Yeah, we're down to a 16.
It didn't look like it moved. I saw a bunch of dust falling. Okay, it moved.
Now it moved. We're gonna move it and tighten it up. So let me go build another wedge for here. I'll be back. Here, you just gently pry on this and I will smack it. Smack them straight in, like you're driving a nail.
Oh.
Stop. Wait a second. There's one. I need a big pry bar. Let's see. That's your big
not the
pry
biggest
bar?
one.
I thought that's the biggest one you had.
Okay, go back and grab Chris. Tell Chris we need
No, Chris has a giant
his big
Yeah.
pry bar. All right.
light.
Hold my light. Hold my beer.
Oh, there you go.
Whew.
Just got that.
We just squished the wood. All right, so we're good. Now we need to tighten it up. We want to tighten this side first. I can't believe that was your big pry bar.
It wasn't. That's the medium one.
That's your medium pry bar?
Yeah, I don't have one of those. You want to donate one?
Do I want to? Yeah, I donate to your paycheck every week. All right, so here's what's going to happen. I'm going to hold tension. You're going to tighten this one while Colin climbs up in there. And then you're going to get the ratchet and you're going to tighten up that one. I grabbed this. Colin, do you need help getting up there? Yeah. Here, let's bring the lift down only to this point. You're doing the one right above Hunter first. Okay, go ahead. Come on, go. You ready? Tight. I want it tight. Now, do that one right up there. Get it tight. All right, now get this one up above me. Colin, you ready with this one? Good. All right, now get that one in there. Yep. They loosened up quite a bit. What we're looking for. Now fit a finger on each one. We were probably a 16th off, but that's touching. So that's where I wanted it. We're going to find out in a few minutes if we got it, because we're about to put the wheels back on. We've got some tightening to do. We're going to drop the wheels on, and if all goes well, they'll actually fit. Where are our lug nuts? They're right here. I got them all right here. Lug nuts for this car yet?
No.
Okay, I'm going to ask a stupid question. Why don't we have lug nuts for this car yet?
Because we realized it the other night
We
and
realized it 3 days ago we didn't have correct lug nuts.
Right.
Have you ordered them yet?
No.
Okay, put the phone down. Gives off any fumes. Those fumes go out the gas door rather than forward into the car. Let me see what these two guys are up to. What are we doing, guys?
Loosen a body mount.
I'm taking the calipers.
Body mount bolts.
Okay. So we had a discussion and Colin lost. Colin, what color calipers did you want?
Red.
What color calipers did every other human being on the planet, and I mean I asked everyone, What color did every other human being on the planet want?
Red.
Black. He's lying. You know how you can tell Colin's lying? How?
His mouth is moving.
By talking.
Yeah, his lips are moving. So yeah, they're going black because they stood out too much. So I think they look a lot better already. New problem. Not so much a problem as just a solution needed. The shift ball in the Corvette needs to have the paddle shift control switch mounted inside it. And so that's what I'm attempting to do now. I've got a silver mark on it. I'm going to drill it and then Dremel it until this little switch goes inside it. Then we're going to hide the wires and default it in the off position so that you have to flip this switch forward into the on position. So follow along. All right, so now we have our 1/2-inch hole. So this is one of the final steps. We've got the rubber boot in place, and that rubber boot doesn't need to seal on the inside surface. It basically needs to seal against this, which it does, and then it will lay against the car itself. All right, so we just put it in place, and from the top, and of course there's a lot more stuff to go in. You're not going to see any of that. But when you look at it from the inside, that's the really cool part. You see back in there, and that boot is sitting right against the inside of that hole, and so you've got a good hermetic seal, so fumes aren't going to come into the car. It's amazing how much the dust shows up on this camera. I mean, the car's not dirty, and yet in this camera it looks like it's like we've just driven it through the Sahara Desert. So with the boot down there, you put in basically the, I call it the coupe fill extension. And at this point, you put your gas cap in place. Gas cap is in place. Gas door closes. And you are ready to take this car out and start enjoying it.
You think we're gonna make it?
Yeah, everything's on the car.
You gonna be able to do it? Are you gonna drive it home?
Yeah, I think so. I think it'll be okay.
All right, so we made it to the gas station. This is our first trip anywhere other than around the block. So tell me, what are the good things and what are the...
It shifted. It shifted.
Okay, so that's the first time it's done that in what, 11 days, 12 days, something like that?
Yeah.
So we got it to shift, which is a good thing. So the bad news is right now it's very close. We probably have about 1/4 of an inch. No, we don't even have 1/4. We've got 1/8 of an inch. It's not touching and it's not rubbing, but we've only got 1/8 of an inch on this side, and we've got just about a 3/8 of an inch on this side. So we're going to actually take the body and move it that way 1/8 of an inch, so that we've got a 1/4 inch on
The whole
both.
body or just the back?
Well,
You have to move the
yeah,
inside.
we have to loosen the front to move the back, but we're going to just move the back. The front is actually good. It does shift. It stops great. Motor is doing everything right.
Fans came on.
We do have an issue right now. I'm not happy with the door with the way the doors are closing.
The gauges are too dull.
Yeah, the gauges, you can't read the gauges in daylight. Because of the air conditioning system, the hood won't open all the way. I mean, it still opens plenty enough to do work, but we have to do a modified hood prop rod just to make this car actually function when it comes to lifting up the hood and holding it in place. And right now it is unacceptable, so we've got to fix that. Obviously we've got a few spots on it to cut and buff. Like there was a little spot and there was a spot that we've got to deal with. That's mostly the list. I mean, yeah, so far. So we're going to keep driving it, and we'll let you know how it goes. All right, so this is where Colin's screwing with my good work. What are you doing?
I'm doing a final shave on the carbon cover.
And why are you doing that?
Because when we tried to fit it, it didn't fit with our AC line.
Yeah,
It was in the way because we had to move it to fit with the hood.
Okay, so we got dust on it, but
There you go.
the carbon fiber engine cover.
I like the matte black.
Well, I think it actually looks really
Yeah.
good. And this was provided by the U.S. Military Drone Museum in Texas. So kind of interesting, right?
These always fit really, really nice.
Yeah, so Doug from the U.S. Drone Museum builds these and sort of does them one at a time. So if anybody wants a real cool, and actually I want to see this on the car. All right, so Colin, are we done?
I think so. I have
Okay.
I have a couple little paint touch-ups, but I think we're done.
Yeah.
Like we did a whole car.
And it runs like a scalded dog. It performs like just an amazing machine, and the looks, you know. So let's talk about our sponsors now. Start at the top of the list.
Ace of Shades paint.
Ace of Shades paint. Now, have you ever in your life, and we haven't even done our final polish yet, but have you ever in your life seen a better paint job than this?
I haven't.
Yeah. I mean, I think this is...
I say
Now, it would have been great if Ace of Shades had handed us 1,000 hours of work to go with it. But what do you think, Billy? What do you think of the paint? Paint, nice?
I love it.
Yeah, it's pretty stunning. All right, who's next?
Next we got American Rebel.
American Rebel Wheels. Now these guys. So this is a guy named Chris, and when we were concerned about wheel clearance, he goes, Dan, don't worry, I'm making you another set of wheels, a 1/4 inch different. I mean, the guy is amazing, and I told him I wanted some cool style, and so we've got, and actually we're gonna have black lug nuts on it. He's getting us a set of black lug nuts for this car, and we're gonna swap them out in Scottsdale in just a few days. All right, who's next?
Next we got Auto City Classics.
Auto City Classics.
Look at that glass.
All the clear stuff. And of course we went clear rather than green glass because we wanted you to see what this car looks like. And quite honestly, it is so cool to see it through the glass. It's a little hard because I'm catching so much reflection, but Auto City Glass came through for us. And we actually ended up with a wrong piece. And what did they do instantly?
They instantly shipped us the next piece.
Yeah, so we had a little bit of a problem. And so the guys at Auto City Classics have been just fantastic to work with for the last 15 years. Next.
DeWitt's Radiator.
So DeWitt's Radiator, these guys just rock. They came through, it's a dual fan LS radiator, and we have very little bling on this car. Almost everything is blacked out, but DeWitt's came through and we left their logo on it because it's not overly aggressive, and quite honestly, it's an amazing cooling system.
Their radiators are awesome.
Yeah, does this thing stay cool or what?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
So we're running many hundreds of horsepower with AC, and we just stay cool in a black car. All right, what's next?
Jason D. Faraz.
All right, so Jason Faraz is one of those guys that just heard what we were doing, and he threw us $400 just to say, keep the effort going. So our big thanks to Jason. All right, who's next?
East Coast Powder Coating.
East Coast Powder Coating. They actually just offered, they said, hey, if you need help with this project, and I mean, the side exhaust.
It's nice to have powder coated.
Oh, it's really, really nice. It looks amazing. So, who's next?
Next we got King Corvette.
Keen Corvettes. All right, so Tom Keen, he's one of the people that this project just couldn't have happened without. So he provided the trim. Now, who made the trim black?
We did.
Yeah, we did. So he doesn't sell it in black, but what we did is we media blasted it, and then put on a couple layers of basically adhesion promoters. And so he provided us with that. He's also the reason we have power windows. We had a lot of factory stuff, but we needed a few missing parts. He provided the power windows and other missing parts. So our thanks to Tom and his crew up there at King Corvettes, because they did us a solid.
Next we got Quick Performance.
Okay, Quick Performance. These are the guys that made sure that air conditioners lined up and water pumps work and alternators run and everything cleared. Now, we did need to, because we're stuffing a lot into a split window Corvette, we did end up moving one bolt from their configuration.
That was it, and that's just because of
Yeah.
how big of a motor and everything we're shoving into this car.
Right, but I'll tell you, one of the things I love about their accessory kit is that it's high quality. I'm not going to mention names of companies we won't deal with, but there are some companies that the stuff looks great, but you put it on, and 6 months later, the client is coming back to you because things are starting to come loose, things are coming apart, things are cracking, and we just don't have that with Quick. So, all right, what's next?
Retro radio restoration.
All right, so I got to open up and show you. I am a fan of originality in a lot of things. And in this particular case, Retro Radio Restoration took our 1965 Corvette radio that didn't work, and they completely rebuilt it, added all new electronics, and then added Bluetooth to it. So now this car, basically set it up with your phone, and you are listening to your favorite music
I love that they do, original radios and make them Bluetooth, because it's just awesome. It keeps the original feel kind of the car. It doesn't look tacky.
And the tuners in the factory radios are so superior to the tuners that you buy in the aftermarket radios. I mean, you can't even compare them. So look, there's a premium you pay to get quality American stuff restored properly, but I'll do it every time because it's worth it.
Next we got Tanks.
Tanks Inc. All right. So the guys that provided everything that comes under here. So basically, Tanks Inc., they make the fuel injection conversion easy. A lot of guys try and get out cheap by using a stock tank, and then they put on an external 60 PSI fuel pump. And what you end up with is a loud mess. Tanks Inc., they actually build the tanks that allow you to run a modern style in-tank pump. And at the end of the day, you don't hear it, you don't smell it. The gauges work perfectly. So our hats off to Tanks Inc. for producing just an amazing product.
Next we have Top Shelf Transmission.
All right, the guys at Top Shelf, these guys are fantastic. Andy owns the company, and they build some truly amazing transmissions. So when we were having a shifting problem, and I was 99% sure it wasn't Andy, and sure enough, was it Andy? Was not Andy. I mean, he said, I don't think you got a problem, but he came by anyway. We put the car up, he ripped the transmission apart, went through it. It wasn't Andy. And so, my hat's off to the guy. Not only does he do great work, but if you even suspect you have a problem, he takes care of it.
The last one is U.S. Military Drone Museum.
Well, the U.S. Military Drone Museum is responsible for this amazing carbon fiber engine cover. And we got a piece of dust on it. We can't have that. So basically this, look, the LS3, I think they're the greatest engine. Look, the small block Chevy changed the world, and then the LS3 did it again. The LS3 is the modern version of what Chevrolet basically, hit out of the park in 1955. The LS came along and did it about 50 years later, and it's just an amazing thing. Now, I want to see these Dakota Digital gauges light up, because one of the problems we were having is Colin said, well, they're not really bright enough, but then he found the setting. And so I got to show you what the guys at Dakota Digital have done for us, because their gauge package is just stunning.
Look at that.
So you can see that staring into the sunset with the sun reflecting right off the hood. I mean, those gauges are just, they're beautiful, and you can see them. That's one of the biggest complaints we get from clients when they have their original factory gauges, is they just can't see them. During the day, they're not horrible. During the night, they're absolutely abysmal. Yes. And the Dakota Digital gauges, I don't care whether it's night, day, or anything in between, sunrise, sunset, you see everything.
Well, they offer, pretty much any color you would want.
Oh yeah,
Super
but
simple to do.
What color would we want in this car? Red. Because they didn't have black numbers, we chose red. Because we'd have chosen black if they had had black, but obviously, the problem is you can't see black. All right, so right now I've got Hunter detailing brake calipers. I've got Will finishing up a few polishing things, and we've still got a final detailing to do. But folks, we're nearing the end of the day. It's getting dark outside. It's been a heck of a day, but is this car going on the truck ready to go?
We made it.
All right, Colin, you ready? Yeah. Fire it up, and I need everybody basically on low clearance water. Tell me when it starts looking good. Okay, I'm maxed out on my jack. All right. All right, folks, it is Monday. It's actually a Martin Luther King federal holiday today. We are celebrating by basically loading up the trailer and putting a stamp on it and sending it off to Scottsdale for the Barrett-Jackson auction, followed by going to the Palladium in Hollywood to be auctioned off at the Grammy viewing party. So we got it all done. The car is actually magnificent. It drives, handles, stops, steers, does everything it's supposed to. And the looks, well, I think they speak for themselves. So we're gonna do this a little out of order because you're probably gonna see a few videos from me while I'm on the road, just because it's gonna take a few more days to edit these last few videos. But please stay with us, and we will take you all the way into the point where this car actually goes up for sale, and hopefully it does a lot of great things for a lot of very needy people. So please stay with us. Say goodbye. The next time you'll see her is in Hollywood.